morning, everyone, and happy Purim. Chag Purim Sameach. The story told about this guy who would come to shul every day, and when people would put out l'chaim for the yard sites, every day there's a bottle of whiskey and a few l'chaims in every shul. He would come and drink all the whiskey every morning. So one day they hid the bottle from this drunk, and he was looking high and low. He wanted to just say l'chaim. They said, "Why do you drink every day? You have to give up drinking." He says, "It's important to drink every day." They said, "Why?" He says, Purim is the happiest day on the Jewish calendar. And the mitzvah is to drink to the point of Ad Lo Yadeh, that you can't tell the difference between blessed is Mordechai and cursed is Haman. Why? Because Haman tried to annihilate the Jews and God saved us. He said, but the truth is, if you go through our 3,000 years of Jewish history, you could find that in every day on the Jewish calendar, there was someone somewhere who plotted to destroy the Jews. And we were saved. So really, every day is Purim. So I celebrate every day the Purim, and I drink every single day. And it's true. When you think about it, every day there was someone somewhere trying to destroy us. But Purim is the day designated to celebrate our victory over all of our enemies. And what do all of our enemies have in common? They are all haters of Jews, anti-Semitic. But what is the basis of their anti-Semitism? In what way do they proclaim their anti-Semitism? All you have to do is read the Megillah. When Haman comes to King Achashverosh, what is the claim he makes against the Jews? What's the basis for the fact that the Jews should be annihilated? He says it very clearly. He says, Yeshno Am Echad, there's this one nation, Mefuzar Meforad, B'chol Medinos Malchusecha, that are scattered amongst all your provinces. V'dasehem shonot mikolam. Their laws are different than every other nation. They got their own rule book. They follow the Torah. They don't follow your laws. And he goes on to say explicitly, V'zdaseh hamelach einam osim. They do not heed the laws of the king. They're loyal to their laws, not to your laws. They're different. They're other. They're interlopes. They don't belong. They're a fifth column in your society. What do you need them for? They're not loyal subjects to the king Achashverosh. And with this, he gets King Achashverosh to agree that you're right, you got to get rid of these Jews. And he gives them 10,000 silver coins, and he signs the edict to wipe out all the Jews. And this has been the argument in every generation. These Jews are different, they're other. And how do many Jews deal with this over the ages, unfortunately? They say, in order to be speared anti-Semitism, we got to fit in more. We got to be more like everyone else, because when we're like other, when we act different, we follow our own rules, we walk around with our yarmulke and our tzitzis and we keep Shabbos, we cause anti-Semitism. If we assimilate, we become like everyone else. They'll leave us alone to live in peace, right? That didn't work very well either for the Jews in Germany and many other places, right? Because somehow the hatred is not based on our observance. But what is our response to that? So let's look at the Megillah. When Esther comes to the party and says, King Achashverosh says for the third time, what do you want? I'll give you half of my kingdom. She says, there's a man, a cruel, evil man, who wants to wipe out me and my nation. And up until this point, Achashverosh didn't know that she was Jewish. And King Achashverosh says, Miuzah, who is this person who wants to kill you and your nation? He says, Haman. And that's when Haman is put to death. So the question is, all she does is says, there's an evil man who wants to destroy me. And suddenly Achashverosh says, okay, if that's the case, let's annul the decree. Or allow the Jews to defend themselves. What about an answer to Haman's argument? Haman said the Jews are not loyal subjects. They have dual loyalty. Something we still hear today coming out of Congress, right? Dual loyalty. They're not really loyal to America, they're loyal to Israel, right? So where is the response and the defense of the Jews? Nowhere in the Megillah does it say that Mordechai or Esther put forth a counter-argument to Haman, who said we're not loyal. And the answer, obviously, is that once Esther said, I'm a Jewess, suddenly there was no need to argue or counter-argue Haman's claim, because you're a Jewish person. I know you personally, Achashverosh says. You're my wife. You're very loyal. You're a wonderful person. On the contrary, now I understand the source of your goodness and your grace and your righteousness, because you're a Jewish person. So the answer is not to hide your Jewishness. The answer is to reveal it even more. Because when they see the good qualities of a person, they say, these qualities come from your Jewishness. That elevates my respect for Jews. Because I know you're such a good, wonderful person. So all we have to do is not argue against the anti-Semites, just show our good nature, our good qualities, our virtues that stem from our Jewishness and our Torah, and automatically the enemy's answers are refuted, because people who know Jews, that's the strongest argument. If someone hears an anti-Semitic claim, And they say, what do you mean? I know this Jewish guy. He's a wonderful person. It's not true what you're saying. He's a wonderful citizen, and he's also a wonderful human being. That's the strongest argument. Esther's power of persuasion was her personality, her grace and her goodness. And that was why Achashverosh said, I will not kill the Jewish people, because he knew Esther personally as his wife and how wonderful she was. And that's our only defense against anti-Semitism, and that is to show the world who we truly are, our Torah values in action. Groucho Marx once said, I would never want to belong to a club that wants me as a member, right? There are clubs right here in Palm Beach that don't want us as members, but let them be. We don't need to be members of their clubs. We're members of the most exclusive club in the world, the Jewish people, and we should wear that proudly. And when someone says, you'd be a little too Jewish, no such thing as too Jewish. The more Jewish, the better. And we go out in the streets and we celebrate Purim proudly as Jews, knowing that for 2,300 years we've been reading the same story, and where are all the enemies that have come up against us over those 2,300 years? Obviously, we have a special power from Hashem, and we will always endure despite our enemies. Story told in 1973, Yom Kippur War broke out, and things were pretty desperate in Israel. And the Prime Minister Golda Meir called Henry Kissinger and pleaded for assistance. He said, Israel needs a lot of help militarily. Please assist. And the conversation went back and forth, what they can do, what they can't do. And at one point, Henry Kissinger got upset at Golda Meir and said, you have to remember, first and foremost, I'm an American. Second of all, I'm Secretary of State. And only thirdly am I a Jew. And Golda Meir said, that's okay, Mr. Kissinger, because here in Israel we read from right to left. As American Jews, we know how to read from left to right, but we also know how to read from right to left. Chag Purim Sameach, celebrate joyously. May we all have a happy Purim, and may all the enemies of the Jews never even come up against us, and when they do, may they follow the same fate as Haman.